So you've made your decision on which road you want to go down, even though you've been warned about that route. That's okay. We're here. And what I'm gonna do is try to do videos on what to look for and discuss how we're gonna handle getting over these hurdles. Because the hurdles are coming. There's gonna be a lot of things happening. It's not gonna happen all at once. It's gonna be a drip drop. But remember this. The first thing I'm gonna say right now is listen to politicians when they start talking about constitutional convention. Just listen out for that word.
About the dangers of a constitutional convention, what's the key danger?
The key danger is that first, it could put all of our constitutional rights up for grabs. The right is doing this under the radar, and we need to pay attention because the risks are profound.
A balanced budget amendment. So you could use that as the reason for calling the convention, but once the convention is called, as you said, all of our rights are then on the table.
That's exactly right.
The one thing, Karen, that folks need to understand is any rights that have been granted under the Constitution, even as an amendment, such as granting full U.S. citizenship to the former slaves, would be up for grabs in a constitutional convention. Right. And with the way folks are acting right now, I wouldn't put it past them during a constitutional convention to go back to calling me 3/5 of a person.
Now is the time where we all have to put in great energy out there to the universe in order to move the direction in some type of positive manner. Because what you're going to start getting is an onslaught of laws and legislations that you're not going to like. And at some point, there's going to be what they call a constitutional convention. When they have that constitutional convention, you'll see that you're going to start hearing about it. You're going to hear the politicians start talking about it. And what they're going to do is they're going to have that meeting, and the Constitution will be on the chopping block. And boy, is it going to get chopped.
Fallout tonight following former President Donald Trump's calls to terminate the U.S. Constitution.
Trump keeps sinking to new lows.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called on more Republicans to speak out against Trump.
And now he's calling for an end to America's constitutional democracy.
And when it does, Civil Rights Act, everything that has happened in the last 60, 70 years, it's going to be null and void. That means you're going to start seeing a lot of shenanigans going on in every field and department. Remember, your president now has total immunity.
In this case, they've answered that question by making it much, much harder to hold presidents, including Donald Trump, accountable for their crimes.
This morning, a landmark Supreme Court decision that reshapes the presidency and hands Donald Trump an enormous legal win. For the first time in history, the court has declared that presidents can never be prosecuted for acts within their core constitutional duties and are presumed to be immune from prosecutions for much of their other official actions. Overnight, President Biden warned that the conservative majority on the court has set a, quote, dangerous precedent.
And any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law.
Meaning he can do exactly what he said by going on Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and he'll be okay.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
He can do that now and not be prosecuted in any type of way. So will the police when they start shaking down your neighborhoods. They're gonna be totally immune for any wrongdoing.
We're going to give our police
their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution.
Sure, when it first starts out, you're gonna see people in court. You're gonna see people marching and all this other stuff. And hey, but then there's gonna be a crackdown on protesting. The protests that are gonna happen, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but people are gonna get hurt. And why do I say all of this? Because your president said it. And if you don't know anything about it, you need to start looking up and really reading or getting into something where you can understand what's going on here. The man has already said that protesters will be shot. When it was BLM out there protesting, your president asked if the protesters can just be shot in the leg. You don't think that's true?
What specifically was he suggesting that the U.S. military should do to these protesters?
He says, can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something. And he's suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
The commander-in-chief was suggesting that the U.S. military shoot protesters.
Yes, in the streets of our nation's capital. That's right. Shocking.
We're talking about serious people that was in his last administration. Serious people who did not vote for him this time, spoke out about him, and also put that out there of the things that he was thinking and saying.
Did the former president appreciate the Constitution? Did he appreciate any of these things?
No.
He expected the people that worked for him to break the law?
Well, when he would give, and I think I've told you this many times, when he would tell me that he wanted to do something, 100% of the time I check with the White House counsel, because oftentimes he wouldn't have the authority to do what he wanted to do.
When he was confronted with the fact that he couldn't do something legally, did he want to do it anyway?
He would try to make the case that he did have the authority.
As chief of staff, Kelly and I were in opposite directions because he was also charged with family separation. But what I can tell you is, on occasion that I went to the White House to meet with Jared Kushner and to meet with Secretary Nielsen, as I was walking down the halls in the White House, most presidents, whether we're talking about Bush, whether we're talking about Obama, they have pictures of them going around the world, meeting children from around the world. It's a very joyful experience. When I walked down the halls of the White House under Trump, it was pictures of the North Korean leader and Trump. And that speaks to who his true north is. What Kelly is saying, and I hope that American people are listening, he is absolutely a fascist through and through. One of the things that I found striking was that Kelly was talking about how what was concerning with him, that Trump has told the American people that he's going to use the military against us, against his enemies who are American citizens. And I just need to remind everybody that he deployed the National Guard in Washington, D.C. against peaceful protesters when they were protesting George Floyd. These were peaceful protesters. If you remember, many of our colleagues in the press got caught in the dragnet. They had to wear bulletproof vests and helmets because he was deploying tear gas. This is not what will Trump be, but it's more, if anything, refocusing us on what he already did and how he plans to double down on American values against our Constitution and so much more.
Now you chose that, so therefore now we're gonna have to deal with it. Just get ready, because this platform here, a couple of other platforms, hopefully they can keep their freedom of speech and all that stuff, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. A lot of these things are gonna get shut down, a lot of them. And when they get shut down, I'm not type of person to say I told you so, because that's not what this is about. This is about us choosing a snake oil salesman, 3-card Molly guy, someone who's telling you, hey, don't look over there, look over here, while he's doing things that is not going to benefit you at all.
We must unite around the candidate who can defeat a dangerous demagogue. Most of us who have created a business know that we're only as good as the way our employees, clients, and partners view us. Most of us don't pretend that we're smart enough to make every decision by ourselves. And most of us who have our names on the door know that we are only as good as our word, but not Donald Trump. Through his career, Donald Trump has left behind a well-documented record of bankruptcies and thousands of lawsuits and angry stockholders and contractors who feel cheated and disillusioned customers who feel they've been ripped off. Trump says he wants to run the nation like he's running his business? God help us. I'm a New Yorker, and I know a con when I see one.
We're going down this road. So just keep your spirits up when you start seeing these things happen. Because we need good energy to pierce through the nonsense that's going to be going down. You think you have freedoms right now because America lives in a bubble. You don't understand how these things work. It's not just you in this world. There's other countries around who actually depend on the stability of America.
Donald Trump was willing to sacrifice our capital to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself. I don't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. That is depravity, and we must never become numb to it.
People. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable, and I mentioned the word love. The love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
He already said that he's coming after everyone, whoever that may be.